Because one thing that she has always understood is that her testimony would become a life change for someone else. And for me, this song it spoke volume to not only a story about a family who overcame, but also for the idea that just because you start somewhere it doesn't have to dictate where you go, and I feel like my entire family serves as a great testimony to the fact that, you can start with struggle, you can start with it's a everyday type of situation. Like, I feel like this is nothing that like nobody has experienced. This is something that so many families have experienced and are experiencing. So for me, I felt like I'm only as valuable as I make myself, and that value comes with me being willing to be real and genuine about where I came from, about what I overcame, what my family overcame. This is what makes your journey valuable. So so that's pretty much for those who would be interested in hearing that. That's available on SoundCloud. But I feel like it definitely spoke to the reality of where I came from and how my father stuck around through all those years. He was never just missing. It tells the story of a black man who stood his ground and who took care of his family despite the obstacles that were up against him. And it just says a mouthful, and that's the reason why I thought to share it. I felt like, this to me, this story happened to be heard. And so I was very, very excited to share it, and I'm glad that you were able to play it for the audience today.
Yeah, me too. That definitely was that's a dope song. So hopefully
and that's a different color. That's a different color of me as an artist as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and one that I don't think too many people, at least not of my listeners, are familiar with. Anyway, so I'm glad you got a chance to showcase that. Are you going to be doing more rapping in the future?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. I feel like I kind of do things as I'm inspired to. So for me, I feel like with this being such a different color, I am more than willing to share. Because I feel like it's my duty and it's my responsibility to share the different layers and the different colors of Rhea. I said a lot of people know Rhea from NBC's The Voice. Not many people know Rhea. Okay. So it's like I want to definitely get a chance to show, because I feel like each color it serves a different purpose.
Yeah.
Some people who might not be willing to listen to R&B or pop ballad, would definitely get tuned in to a Meek Mill remix. So I definitely do plan to put more of the different colors of my artistry into the things that I'm going to be doing in the near future. So whether that be rapping or spoken word, all of that will be intermingled with what I do as a vocalist.
Nice. So let's talk a little bit about your season on The Voice for people that don't really watch the show or don't really get to catch it all the time. Season 11 of The Voice, you were on Alicia's team, correct? Team Alicia?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I was.
What made you decide to do The Voice? Like, what, 10 seasons in, you decided to say, you know what, I think I'm going to go audition for The Voice. How did that happen?
What's funny is I was going to go and audition for season 9, the same season that my boy Mark Hood was on.
What's up, Mark?
Right. Hey, Mark. So I did not. Honestly, my sister was a faithful viewer of The Voice. I never really was. I was not the person who always made it my business to tune into it, even though I knew what it was.
Right.
But she was the person who always encouraged me to go. She's like, Tiana, you need to do this. I want you to go and audition for the show. And so I finally, the time that I chose to do it was at a time that I felt like it was my time to do something greater than I had ever done. And so with that, I kind of had like a hitch or whatever, whatever you call it. I just feel like it was kind of like a thorn in my side. It was like, move on everything right now. And so that's what I did. And when I chose to go out and audition for it, and I made it through that first round of auditions, I just knew, I said, this is my time. This is the time for me to do something greater than I've ever done. And so that's what provoked me, though, my sister encouraging me to do it, and then me finally coming upon a time where I felt the urgency to do it myself.
Now, going into the audition, did you know that you would pick Team Alicia?
Well, no, I actually started on Team Miley. I started with Miley Cyrus. And so basically how the show, I mean, for those who may not be into the show like that, I mean, the show starts with the blind audition, and, you get selected, or you select a team. If you get more than one chair turn, you select a team. I selected Miley's team. And so once you go into the battle rounds, if you lose the battle round to the opponent, you go home, you get kicked off the show, or you get picked up by another coach.
Right.
And Alicia, being one of the coaches who fought for me from the very beginning, she picked me up on the battle round between Aaron Gibson and I. So that's how I landed on. She stole me from Miley's team, and that's when I began my journey with her, which is where I completed the rest of the season.
So, and how would you compare being on Team Miley and Team Alicia? Like, what were the things you think you took from each of those experiences the most?
Well, I mean, I think that I was able to relate to them on different levels. Miley was a very free-spirited person, very fearless in her approach to everything, and that's the kind of vibe that I was in that mode, like I want to do something different. I want to, do the unexpected, because I've never been one who just wanted to do stuff because people expected me to do it, And so, hence me being on Miley's team.
Right.
And so from her, I gathered that more motivation to freaking do what you want, and bring you to whatever, And so with Alicia, I felt like, and Miley was very involved. She was probably the most involved coach of them all, just showing up to hair and makeup just to see how everything's going.
Yeah.
Showing up to the dress rehearsals where they weren't required to be.
Nice.
And she was very involved, and I really appreciated her effort in that department. But Alicia, I was really, of course, able to connect with her as another Black woman. As another Black woman and female artist. She was really encouraging to me as far as just letting me know you have a light about yourself. Don't ever dim that light to fit whatever else is going on. Like, you keep being who you are. Bring that genuine fire to whatever it is that you do, like you've been doing. She was very encouraging to me in that area. So I really valued being on her team, and I was there actually with her for most of the season, and she fought for me the entire time. So I think that I was able to experience a sister-like relationship with her, and she was very down to earth and honest.
Nice. So for someone that is considering being on The Voice, what is it like? How do you prepare to sing in front of an audience that huge? Like, you already have the audience that you're, that's in the room with you face to face. And then you have these iconic judges in front of you. And then you have all these people that are watching you at home. How does one prepare for that, especially if they've never, performed on that type of platform before?
If I am completely honest with you, if you don't come somewhat prepared, you probably ain't gonna make it onto the show. That's something like, if you don't come somewhat, because the reality of it is that you don't have time to there's no way to it's like, for me, my journey that led to me going to The Voice, me deciding, because like my whole life I had sang, gospel music. I had been part of the singing in church, and stuff like that. A couple years prior to me auditioning for The Voice, I stepped outside of that, and I began to branch out and to do more in the field of R&B, pop, everything soul. I was doing a lot of different things. And that 2-year journey prepared me to stand upon a stage like The Voice. I don't know that I would have been that prepared for it had I not experienced the part of the journey that came prior to it. Mm-hmm. So for me, like when you go to audition for The Voice, okay, if you are prepared enough or ready enough for them to choose you, then you'll most likely be ready enough to weather whatever storms come with the process. But if you're not prepared, I just truly don't believe. I mean, it's not for the faint at heart.
Right.
I feel like, you have to come in with a mentality that is ready to take it by storm. And, so your path will have had you prepared for it already. And then when you go there, you get little nuggets that continue to help you and strengthen you along the way.
Right. So
that's my truth.
Oh, okay. That's what we want. The truth. Someone has to be real and give you the real perspective on it. So if you're not ready and you're not prepared, you might need to wait until next season. We hear that.
Yeah, because it's time to go. Once you get there, it's time to go. It's go time.
Yep.
It's go time. This is not the time to prepare. It's time for you the lights are on. Yes.
Which is why I have not auditioned for The Voice. So, of course, we know that each season they pick one winner, right? And we know that of all the talent that come through, each season and each episode, that there are so many talented people that, and could have, in different people's eyes or from their perspective, have been the winner, even over the person who was selected as the winner. So when you get to a point at the end of your journey where they say it's time, for you to go home, do you truly feel like, you've lost, or do you feel like that there's something instead to gain? What was going through your mind?
Well, for me personally, I had a supportive support system around me at the time that I was eliminated from The Voice, and I feel like it pays off for you to have people in your corner who truly do love and support you in what you're doing. If you are not careful, you can go into a state of loss, feeling like you lost and be depressed and all that kind of stuff. I do know people personally who fell into that category of the depressed category, and for me, it helped me to have people that were like, okay, it's time to take what you just did and use it for your advantage.
Right.
Like, and so we took total advantage of the fact that millions of people know my name that didn't know me just 3 months ago. Mm-hmm. Let's take that thing and run with it.
That really big thing.
Yes, take that, because it's so not a small thing.
Right.
And you almost being in the journey, sometimes you can be too close to even see how grand it is. It takes other people's response to the journey to kind of wake you up to the reality of, so that just happened. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I have somewhat of a name now. All right. So I think that me having that support system that was like, all right, this is what we got to do. We got to put this in place, put that in place. We got to get this done. We got to get that done. I didn't have time to weep about being eliminated from the show. I literally didn't have time. And it took me into different doors and other platforms that I never would have been invited to had I not been on The Voice. And I was prepared to take those opportunities the minute I got off the show. Like, had I been eliminated another 2 weeks later, I would have missed some of the opportunities that I had when I got eliminated.
Yeah, God's
performing. Yes, girl. I'm talking about, like, when it comes to how God is so clutch, man, and so dope when it comes down to how he operates. It is undeniable.
Yes.
You know, and that is what I'm grateful for, that along this entire journey, I've been able to experience the works of his hands in that way, in ways that nobody else can take credit for.